On Two Wheels this week, Jeff relives his youth as he tracks down some British classics. Brendan Riley goes for an audition as a bike presenter. And Wayne tells us all we need to know about lubrication. And your chance to win tickets for this summer's biggest show.
Now, we've all dreamed of having a new bike, but is that a brand new bike or just a new bike to you? How about if you've come back to bikes and are hankering after your youth, thinking, I wish I could have a Bonneville, light and manageable they were, or then again a rugged BSA with all that chrome and polished alloy, or then again a nice Norton Commando. Well, you can, and we're not at the Antiques Roadshow. This is Greenloom Classics in Cheshire, and they've got everything in here as long as it's British. So here is that Commando of your dreams. This one, 1972, 750, only 17,000 miles on the clock. It'll cost you just £4,000. And what do you get for that? Great big motor, 750 vertical twin motor, iron barrel, alloy head. And this is the isolastic engine, or isolastic frame if you like, because it was mounted in these mountings front and rear, rubber mounting to take some of those vibes out of it. Up the front end you've got what look like spindly forks now, but down at the bottom there, twin leading shoe front brake. No discs, no 6 spots, none of that business. Brake shoes in there. As you can see from this linkage down the bottom, operates that rod and pulls the shoes on. Both of them are actuated, so you get a leading shoe and a trailing shoe, and it should stop you with a bit of luck. Now, if you're more of a Triumph man than you are a Norton man, how about this absolutely immaculate T120 Bonneville, 1970 version, unit construction motor, twin carb, only 420 miles on the clock. A bit more expensive than the Norton. This one will cost you £6,000, but it's absolutely immaculate. Twin leading shoe front brake again, gleaming from every pore. You can't beat this one. However, if you decide you're a Norton man after all, what about this one? 750cc Norton Atlas, 1963 model. It'll cost you £4,000, but it's very, very nice, absolutely immaculate, like all the bikes here. This one hasn't got any anti-vibration mountings. That was before they were thought of with the other Commando, but it's a nice bike nevertheless. Now back to Triumphs, and back a few years as well. A 1954 Speed Twin, iron engined 500. And look at this, very distinctive, the Triumph Nacelle, very famous in the 50s this was, all streamlined, instruments stuck in the back, swept back bars, steering damper in the middle there, no hydraulics mind you have to squeeze this down, brought together some friction discs. You've also got a little grid on the tank here for your parcels and bits and pieces, but you have to watch your bits and pieces, because if ever you went over the bars, you might lose some bits and pieces. It's true. Front number plate there is even nice and streamlined in case you smacked into a unlucky pedestrian. Got a 1955 BSA B31 350 iron single, another Triumph Bonneville, another Atlas, this is the silver tank. In fact, there's absolutely loads of bikes. There's even more. You could have a Velocette Venom, the classic British single. Next door to it, BSA A65, a unit construction job. Next door to that, another Norton Commando. And you got with this. It's a BSA A65, but not as we know it. This is called the Firebird. This is a street scrambler. See these big bars? Made for the American market, never really caught on, and what on earth a street scrambler is, I don't know. But it looks quite tasty. Cost you £4,000. It's a 73 one, a bit of rarity. Good posing tool, perhaps. Anyway, there's even more. Got to mind my head here. Yes, even more Triumphs. In fact, you could say this is a stable full of Triumphs. But there's 2 more bikes that I'd like to show you before we find out from the owner just who is buying all these bikes. Now, if standard British classics aren't particularly your cup of tea, get it? And perhaps you fancy yourself as a bit of a rocker, like Ogre. How about this? 500cc Gold Star engine, BSA Gold Star, in a Norton featherbed frame, polished alloy tank, clip-on handlebars. Look at this TT carburettor here, with the old bath plug in there to keep all the sweet wrappings out and bugs and God knows what else. Alloy central oil tank. And up front, an Italian 4-leading shoe front brake. Now that'll really stop you and really test these forks. But that really looks a pretty neat tool. Even got a little megaphone exhaust pipe there, which is bound to wake the neighbours. But altogether, a nice little job. And that'll cost you just £6,000. The BSA Golden Flash, in production for many years, the later ones with swinging arm, but this is one of the early ones. This is a 1950, cost you £3,750, but absolutely immaculate. Plunger rear suspension with little grease nipples, no swinging arms or monoshock on this one. But look at this, the rear mudguards hinge there. Simply undo those bolts, hinge the mudguard up, pull the back wheel out. No messing, no heaving about as you have to do on a modern bike. The toolbox here, some would say you actually need tools. Simply put a coin in there, open that. And on there, the old BSA badge, Birmingham Small Arms Company. See the old 3-stack rifles? Separate oil tank there, regulator under the seat, 650cc motor, separate gearbox, iron barrel. And up the front here is another neat touch. Not only is this massive mudguard here, but look at this stand. Undo those bolts, swivel the stand down, lifts the forks up, drop the front wheel out. Dead easy. Now we've just seen the Ogre bike, as I'm tending to call it, but you've got a whole range of classic bikes here. Just what sort of people normally buy them?
Well, anyone from 18 to 80, from a student to bank managers. They just basically want something that's a better investment and offers them more fun per mile than a modern sports bike.
Well, does it seem to attract the born-agains more than anyone else?
It's 50-50. You get some people who are coming after a layoff of 25, 30 years, and some people who've had Japanese motorcycles and now are looking for something which, you know, is better returns and doesn't sit and depreciate in the garage.
So what do you think is the real attraction? Because I've had British bikes, and as I remember, they're a bit unreliable and they leak a bit of oil, and you've got to be a greasy fingers man, haven't you?
No, you don't have to be a greasy fingers man. You can possibly say that of some of the older machinery that's got exposed valve gear and things, but most post-war British motorcycles make a perfectly decent motorcycle.
Now, I've been impressed by these bikes, Gavin. Looking around here, they're absolutely immaculate. So where do you source them from? Where do you get them all?
We can do full restoration work here, but I generally source my stock as rebuilt by the owners, previous owners, and by low mileage machines.
Now, they're old bikes, but they're well looked after. So what sort of warranty would one of your customers get? Do they get an MOT?
Standard warranty I give with a motorcycle is a 30-day warranty and a 12-month MOT. Every machine comes fully serviced and fully test-ridden, so if there's a problem with it, it should come up on the test ride and it will be rectified.
Final question for you, Gavin. That T120 Bonneville, I really took a shine for that. What's the chance of a quick spin?
No problem, as long as you wash it.
And we'll catch up with Jeff and the Triumph Bonneville on Two Wheels next week. And coming up next tonight, we've got the crazy Brendan Riley presenting motorcycles like you've never seen before.
Don't tell the lads at Two Wheels, but I've landed myself an ace audition for that brilliant programme, you know, the motoring one, Top Skier. Now, they're filming over there, but before we start, I've got to get me gear, because my hair's a bit short, and you know what the score is. You need a perm, don't you? There we go. I've got the jacket, I've got the perm. All I need now is the patter to go along with it.
Okay, Brendan, darling, when you're ready.
Here we go. All I'm going to do is talk about this bike. And, okay, here we go. All the way from the land of the setting sun, I'm going to talk about this. It's a Japanese superbike. That's quite...
Hang on, with feeling, darling, with feeling.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the patter. I've got to get it right, yeah. Okay, all the way from the land of the setting sun, we have this. A Japanese superbike.
Wonderful, darling, wonderful.
So all I've got to do now is keep talking about it. Okay, it's got 160 kilograms of boy racers adrenaline, as well as that, enough power to pull a rugby team away from the bar. But if that's not enough, all you need is got a big wheel at the front and an even bigger one at the back. Okay, things are going well at the moment, so hopefully all I've got to do is talk a bit more about the bike.
Tell me about the front wheel, darling.
Okay, if this front wheel was a donut, it'd be a very big, like a rubbery black donut with an alley inside and oh yes, and a compressed air filling.
Very very good, very good. Move to the back, move to the back.
Just got to do the back now, okay? Right, things are going well. Now it's got to talk about the back end.
Just tell me about the chain, darling, the chain.
Chain. Okay, I need a clever analogy or a pun here. If this chain was made out of pork, it'd be like a string of a string of very strong sausages with basically a gammon steak for a sprocket.
Yes, very nice. Wrap it up now, dear. Wrap it up, wrap it up.
Okay, nice one. Right, things are going okay. All I've got to do now is sum it all up, and I think I've got it.
Okay, dear, wrap it up now, wrap it up.
Right, I'm going to try to be clever again. Okay, if this bike sounded like a singer, it'd sound like Luciano Pavarotti on the bog. Oh! Oh, sole mio, give it to me. Right, I think I've got it. I'm going to ask. Oh, what do you reckon then, mate? Have I got the job?
Yes, dear, you were crap.
Crap. Stuff your job. I'm better off on two wheels anyway. Anyway, I hate that Jenny Clarkson, whoever her name is. Him.
After the break, Wayne gets lubricated and your chance to win tickets to the biggest biking event in this country this summer.
Oh, look at that now. Just get my hair sorted in this shiny bit here and then I'll be right for camera. Nice that. Oh, caught me unawares then. I'm on my day off, you know. I'm supposed to be playing out with my toys and that lot. But anyway, the reason we're doing this piece now is because we've had some correspondence in the office referring to a problem that a lot of people have been having. You bring your bike out of mothballs, you take it out of the shed after it's been stored for the winter, and you notice the chain is all rusty and horrible. It's a problem a lot of people have had. So you charge your battery up, ready for action, and you think, will the chain be all right? The best thing you can do is to lube it. And that is exactly what I'm going to do, show you the different lubricants and the best way to do that. So, follow me. Here's a few examples then of the various different chain lubricants that you can buy. And I say a few because there's literally hundreds. Every different major lubrication company, oil company for you out there, will in fact produce a chain lube. Now these are all aerosol types, and that's one method, and probably the easiest method. PJ1 here, it's blue. So what difference does that make, you might add? Well, it does make a difference, because if you've got regular wheels, chrome shiny wheels that are easy to clean, fine. If you've got black wheels, who gives a hoot that a bit of chain lube might come onto the back wheel? Because even though they're all anti-fling, you do get a little bit on the back wheel, you will do, naturally. Well, if you've got a white wheel or a purple, green or whatever, because you've got a fancy super bike, you don't really want dirty, horrible coloured chain lube on it. So, what a lot of these manufacturers have done is produce 100% synthetic lubricants that happen to be clear. And that's the ideal ones to buy, in my estimation, because then it keeps that back wheel reasonably clean. This one from Putaline, it's a brand new formula, and they do go on about the fact that it will suit all types of chains, O-ring, non-O-ring, big, little, whatever, and is anti-fling. Motul here produced this one. It's actually a big can, but will cost you a bit more money. It's as simple as that. You've got £3.95, £3.30, you've got £6.95. You've got the racing chain lubricant, Pro Chain, from Sokoline. All they really mean is they have used some fancy man-made additives to produce a good lubricant that costs a little over £4. Now this is a good idea. This is a big can here and the baby can here. And the difference between these two is they're both the same lubricant, a fancy new clear or white formula, so you can't see it. But in the little can is enough for you to take with you and stick in your pocket. If it ever gets empty, you fill it up from Big Daddy there. You put the two together and it reloads this one. It's a great idea. It's quite expensive, but it's good chain lubricant. This one will cost you £7.50, £7.5, and this one will cost you around £3. Put the two together and fill that up. Stick that in your pocket, so when you go touring, you've always got your chain lube with you. Great idea. Now then, how do you put it on the chain? Well, they do help by giving you the nozzles so you can get close, that sticks on there and you squirt. Now then, the important thing is where and how do you do it? I'm going to show you. Check a look at this. So here we go. Now it fell off the bike, this. We've set this up to demonstrate, and this is a nice little bit of link and small chain, isn't it, eh? Cam chain off a Hesketh. Anyway, right. The reason we've set this up is just to show you where you stick your little pointer when you're squirting the lubricant on the chain. Now, like a lot of lads, I've seen it, they stick the bike on the main stand and they spin the back wheel so many times and squirt for England. Well, all that does is just put lots and lots of propellant, the stuff in the can that gets the real chain lubricant out. And it goes all over the back wheel after it's been rotated. Just serves no purpose. What you need is one rotation of the chain and squirt your little squirter on the top runner of the chain. And then, having done one rotation, stick your little squirter on the top runner of the bottom of the chain. It's as simple as that. So what you're doing is you're getting lubricant on the outside and lubricant on the inside. Now the place to stick your little squirter, if you're clever enough and accurate enough, is here. Here's my big version. You stick it ideally around here, not in the middle, which again a lot of people do. This doesn't need any lubricant really. Every now and again it'll get it when you're wobbling around. You want to stick it down the side here so it lubricates between the O-ring seal and the side plates, and around here. So in this vicinity it'll squirt and spray around. And the same applies on this side. So just to go back to the chain luber here, if you squirt on one edge on the top runner and on the other edge of the bottom runner, you'll get one on one side and one on the other side. If you understand what I'm on about, I'm amazed. But basically what I'm aiming to say is a little and often, as I tell the missus, a little and often chain lube on the top and the bottom runner, one rotation is enough. If you missed it on one occasion, you'll get it next week. And that is the idea. Lubricate it once a week, whether you do a couple of 100 miles or many more. If you do many more, i.e. thousands, you could be a courier or you like doing some serious touring, then you might consider another option, and that is not an aerosol, but possibly a proper fitted chain lubricant that drips the oil onto the back of the chain. So I'll show you some of those. Right then, here we are. First of all, I don't need that, that's my squirty device, yeah? So I don't need that fella. This collection of various different lubricators, these fit to the machine. They work from various different sources, but in the end do the same job. They drip some lubricant directly onto the chain via a fixture or a fitting. Now, you've obviously got to put the oil somewhere, so they have reservoirs. And you've obviously got to find a method of letting that oil drop onto the chain only when you're riding the machine. Well, they do this by various different ways. There's an electronic device by Lubetronic, and that one is simply, as you turn the ignition on, it drips. And you feed a lot or a little, depending on your requirements, if you do a lot of miles or whatever. Then you've got these devices, the Scott Oiler, for example, that work from a vacuum off your bike, i.e. the carburettor. And it tells the lubricating reservoir to drop a bit of oil, depending on how quick you're going. You've got these things by Chain Tech, which work on movement. Shock, for example. As you accelerate, a plunger moves. As you decelerate, put your brake on, the plunger moves again, drips a bit of oil. So there's various different devices. You can buy them for around £30. That's this simple one by Chain Tech. They do a more elaborate one here for around 40 quid. Your Scott Oiler, which are your original really, and they do this system for just over £60, which you secrete somewhere behind your side panel or whatever, drips down to the chain via the tube and various different fittings. They've also done one for those guys who do some serious miles by sticking it behind the registration plate using this, which has got a large reservoir, the standard feeding device, and it's all hidden behind your number plate. It's a good idea. It costs you a little bit more, fair enough, because you get more. That's quite a generalisation, and you might need a spanner man to fit it for you, or you might fancy fitting it yourself if you're a DIYer. But that's for those guys who doesn't want to use the squirter, all right, and do a lot of miles. Scott Euler have actually invited us up to Scotland to see how they produce these things and have a look at their R&D bit and so on. So that we'll do in the future programmes. Now that is it. If I can just summarise, squirty chain lubes or fitted chain lubes. You'd think that would be easy for me to learn about and tell you about, but it's not been easy to film, because all day long while I've been filming this piece, I've had these Charlies messing around, and I tell you what, they're supposed to be spanner man on a plane. I won't go anywhere near a plane that these lads have spannered. So, right then. Oh look, it's fell off. It hasn't fell off. We've set this here now to help demonstrate. Simple. You squirt your lube via the tube. Swing round there, Paul. Have you got nothing better to do? Yeah, keep rolling, keep rolling. Now, just to inform you, these lads are mechanics on aeroplanes. Would you fly an aeroplane that has been worked on with these lads?
We can fix anything. Anything at all, we fix. We can move it, actually.
Oh, gee. Honestly. Thanks, lads.
This year's BMF show is on May the 22nd and 23rd, and we've got 10 pairs of tickets to give away. To win a pair, listen carefully. On March the 1st this year, the new T registration came into force. We'd like to know, in what year previously was the letter T used to denote the year of registration? Answers on a postcard to this address, or answers via email to this address. On Two Wheels next week, Jeff's out on the beautiful Triumph Bonneville in deepest Cheshire. He's certain to turn some heads. Hopefully, he'll not have to spend too long cleaning it afterwards. And Sherry Hughes meets some winter bikers down at Box Hill.